Welcome to DayZ. Today we are going to be talking about the mechanics and inner workings of guns, what you should use and how you should use them. Thank you all so very much for watching. Leave a comment if I missed any questions you have, and I or someone from our awesome community will answer you pronto. Enjoy. The first thing I'd like to focus on is the HUD. So if we go to the bottom left hand corner here, my gun is in pristine condition, so it's a bright green dot. If it was in lower quality, it'd be a color going to the tint of red, or the hue of red, sorry. And it would slowly go on a scale, so it goes a little bit less green and then like yellow, orange, and red. Red being ruined, where you can no longer use it. I currently have 1 bullet in the chamber, represented on the outside there, and 64 bullets in the magazine. This is a Bison, and it is in semi-auto, which I could switch on PC with X. Console player, please tell me what button in the comments, so if someone's curious, they know. And it's ranged to 75 meters right now. If I have another magazine for this gun, which I currently do not, get it together, Cameron. If I have another magazine for this gun, all I have to do to reload it is hold R. So I have a magazine in the gun, I have a magazine in my inventory, I'm going to hold R. Now, that's quite straightforward. The same thing can be applied if we have ammo for the gun, but we don't have a magazine. So I'm going to go ahead and take some ammo out of this Bison by putting it in my hands and holding left click, the action key. And so now, let me drop that guy. So now I don't have a magazine for the gun in my inventory, but I do have the bullets for it, these 380 bullets right here. So I'm going to hold, first I'm going to tap R to clear the chamber, which I was going to go over detail in a second. But I'm going to hold R. As you can see in the bottom right hand corner, there's 0 bullets in the chamber currently. I'm going to hold R. It's going to put a single bullet in the chamber. And let's say I see a bad guy over there, I'd shoot at him. I could reload again holding R, all the same. And the second I find a magazine, it's going to prioritize that magazine over the ammo. So here, I have a magazine, but I also have ammo. I'm going to hold R. It's going to put the magazine in there. So that's how reloading works. Now we're going to talk about weapon jamming, because it is a very common issue, and if you don't know how to solve it in the moment, it often leads to you dying. I don't want that to happen to anybody. So what determines a weapon jam is 2 separate details. The first one being the weapon condition. So this gun is pristine. You know what? I kind of like the rain. The rain is going to relax me. And the magazine is pristine. So if I go and I shoot full auto, I emptied the entire magazine, right? And that's with pristine. As we can see, the pistol suppressors don't do well with full auto weapons in general. But I could shoot the whole magazine. Now we're going to take this Bison that is badly damaged, so we can see the quality there. And we're going to take this magazine that is badly damaged, and we are going to blast off, okay? Like, pretend it's a dire situation here. My gun already jammed. 3 bullets in. Oh, no. Oh, no, I don't know what to do. Well, you do the same thing as reloading. You're just going to hold R. And you can even do this while you're full sprint. Just going to demonstrate that to you here. It takes a long time, and boom. As soon as you hear that clear happen, where he goes, Chka, that means it's clear. So now we have another jam. Another 5-7 bullets in. I got to hold R again. And as you can see right there, you can kind of see the bullet jammed in the gun. Boom. An important thing, if you do the chamber clear and then you do an animation or something, or you run, sometimes the bullet won't go in there and you'll have to tap R again to get that bullet in the chamber. See how every time I tap R, I'm just loading a new bullet in the chamber? I want to also point this out because I don't want your gun to jam really early on a worn weapon with a worn mag, and you'd be like, what the hell? Just because your gun is pristine and your mag is pristine, it doesn't mean the whole mag is going to be fine. Sometimes a worn gun with a mag that is worn will still jam. Another thing, when you repair the magazines a bunch of times, or you repair the gun a bunch of times, the overall quality of the gun deteriorates. So your gun quality is just going to move down ever so slightly, just like a knife when you repair a knife. If you ever look at a knife's durability, when you repair it, like the actual bar goes down a little bit every time you use the cleaning kit. So the same thing is with guns. Just because your gun is in good quality doesn't mean it's not going to jam, especially if you've repaired the piece a bunch, right? So I have another mag here. Let's see. Yeah, I guess that's a bad example, but these are pristine, right? If these were worn and you'd used them and repaired them a couple times, it's very likely that they would jam again. I almost rendered out this video without telling you how to repair the weapons. So these weapon cleaning kits will be found at mostly hunting locations or hunting stands, and you could use them to repair both your weapon, your suppressors, your magazines, and pretty much anything else with the gun. Also alongside that, if your ammo is damaged, if it's badly damaged ammo, it has no effect on your gun jamming. Okay, enjoy. Back to the video. Alright, so I rendered out this video yesterday. I put it live, and then I realized I missed one really important topic. So I canceled the video premiere. I deleted my render, and we're back at it again, okay? And I woke up at 8 o'clock in the morning with this on my mind, all right? There are different kinds of magazines in guns. For example, here I have an actual magazine, right? Which if I put it in my hands, I can hold R on PC, and it will reload ammo. Or I could hold left click, and it will empty the magazine, shown in the bottom left-hand corner, okay? And alongside a magazine that I could put into a gun, like manually reloading it, right? I have a magazine for this AK. I hold R. It puts that magazine in there. Some guns come with an internal magazine. So this is a magazine that is like built into the gun. For example, the SKS is probably the most popular option for this. And what happens with these guns is instead of having that magazine, you just automatically load a single bullet into this internal mag. Check it out. You pull it open, you pop, 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 pop. And let's say you got a gun jam on this, because any gun with a magazine or like a filtering effect can jam. Let's say a jam, you would do the same thing. You just hold R. All right. And this also goes for bolt action rifles. So for all of those sniper rifles that we're going to be talking about in this, if they are a bolt action, you're going to shoot, and then you're going to have to tap R. Shoot! Tap R. And that's just like we talked about with clearing the chamber. You're just clearing the chamber and loading the next bullet into the magazine there. The next thing I want to show you guys is the pistol whip or the gun whip. And what you do is you prime your weapon like you're going to shoot, and then you hit the same button that you open doors with, the action key. It's going to do a little pistol whip, and it does take a lot of stamina, but it puts a lot of shock damage on players, and it's like a quick way to like whack them and blast. Right? And that's something that you as a player, you want to get good with. You want to be able to hit them with the whack-a-mole and understand where the center of your screen is for that second shot. Let me see if I can find some zombies here. Because understanding where the center of your screen is incredibly important to your gameplay. So if I come up to him, here, let me turn off ignored by creatures. I don't want no bonus here. No god mode, no ignored by creatures. So if he comes up to me, I just wait for him, whack him, and then that helps me understand where the center of my screen is when I hit that shot. And that's going to come into play in a little bit with something else we're going to say. You can also do this with assault rifles, but be warned, versus players when you do this, especially with rifles, it takes longer for you to recover from the hit right now than it does for them to recover and shoot you with a gun. So you don't want to do it with rifles. You want to do it with pistolas. And even then on players, it's not going to be a good play right now. But with the pistol, you could combo your hits like that and really whack someone down a lot. You could do that with rifles too, but the animation takes longer. So pistol whips are something really good versus zombies and players. But be aware, especially as you get a plate carrier, you're going to be a heavy boy. And it's going to take a lot of energy for you to throw that out a couple times, right? But it's really good for what we're going to talk about in just a second here. I planned on doing this in a different order, but I think this is perfect. Knowing where the center of your screen is incredibly important, mainly because a lot of times when we're playing DayZ, we can't figure out which gun to use. We come across a bunch of different options and we're like, ah, this one looks cool, that one looks cool. There are plenty of tier lists, but ultimately it's your choice. There is no real tier list when it comes to DayZ for preference. And everyone is going to naturally be drawn to a different gun for a different reason, probably in accordance with their playstyle, right? If you're sniping all the time, you're not going to be wanting an AKM with a drum mag. You're going to be wanting a Winchester. So when you're thinking about your guns, the main thing that I would say you should prioritize is, can my gun penetrate the armor in the tier that I'm in? So really, when you're asking yourself what gun you should be using, you need to be asking yourself, what are my adversaries going to have as far as armor goes? Now let's talk about actually controlling the gun. So in order to prime it, we could hold right click. If we tap right click, it's going to aim down sights right away. And there is some times when this is useful, but generally speaking, I try and push people away from doing this. Instead, we right click and then we press shift, or we press middle mouse and you press it again to exit that mode. The reason why tapping right click is bad is because once you let go of right click, you're still ADS. But if you hold right click and then shift, or right click and middle mouse, as soon as you let go of right click, you can run and move. So this version, where you're toggling between it, as opposed to this version, allows you to be much more mobile. When you just tap right click, sure, you're ADSing right away, which we'll talk about why I don't like ADS. But also you're stuck in this. You can't, like, you're not mobile, you can't change. You can't, like, go back and forth. It's harder to go back and forth. And also, personally, I think aiming down sights, especially in close combat, is not the play. I think firing from the hip is way better. You could get there faster than ADSing, and it's going to give you a better understanding as to where your muzzle is. So let's say I was trying to shoot these guys over here. If I aim down sight and I start firing at them up close, my ability to see them, especially on someone running and moving and darting, my ability to see them is obstructed by my arm, by the barrel, the butt of the gun, and also by the iron sights. And when I start firing, it's going to be very hard to track where my crosshair is aiming. Okay, so that is one way to go. Now I'm going to express to you the way that I think is actually better, and that is going to be unlimited ammo. And that is going to be aiming from the hip. So let me just go over here. What aiming from the hip does is it allows you to see more of your screen, see where your bullets are hitting easier, because when you're aiming, like, it's hard to see where your bullets are hitting. But when you're not, let me turn down the audio on this really quick. But when you aim from the hip, what happens is a lot of times you'll be off. For example, I'm shooting over here. I can see where my bullets are hitting because I'm not ADSing. And that allows me to adjust onto my target easier. See, I saw the bullets down here. I was able to adjust. When I'm aiming down sight, I have no ability to see where my bullets are going. So obviously there's a point when ADSing will allow me to get more accurate fire over range. But what I'm talking about right now is close up. When you're coming into a building, we shouldn't be ADSing every single moment. Aiming from the hip is plenty to get the shots where you want. See how my shots hit literally in the corner there? Take a look. Like I could fire. That time I hit the wall and adjusted over here. I could aim way quicker from here. So 2 things when it comes to combat. Don't tap right click unless you're sniping, right? We don't want to be doing that. And because when you're sniping, obviously I'm just trying to keep the hold on them. And when it comes to close combat, don't use ADS so much unless you're peeking and, like, blasting, maybe. We don't want to be using that as much as a lot of people do. A lot of people primarily use that as their mode. Instead, we need to get used to where the center of our screen is. And what we can do to help us with that is, boom, this bad boy, the MK2. This is the best weapon for all new players in the game. Reason being, it allows us to get used to all of the mechanics. Hitting, shooting, holding our breath, aiming down sight, not tapping, and shift after we hold right click, shifting in, all these different things. It allows us to practice all this with the quietest gun in the game. And on top of that, something that's not going to aggro a billion zombies. So let me go to a town that's really big here. So here we go. We got a couple zombies here. Something I recommend with the MK2 is that you don't use a magazine with it. And the reason that is because a single shot from the MK2 is not going to aggro any zombies, even if I'm pretty close to them. So this is a pretty zombie intense spot. There are multiple zombies here. There's one right over there, okay, by the houses. This gun is so quiet. When I shoot, this guy doesn't even process it. He doesn't hear it at all. Players would hardly hear it. So I'm going to reload again. I'm going to put another bullet in it. So I just drag. So from your inventory, you could also drag it over. I did that. Sorry. I did that instead of holding R because I have a magazine. I don't want to put that in right now. But now I could just go over here and let's say you miss this guy. Nothing. He doesn't even aggro to the sound of the bullet hitting. So when you single chamber, it allows you to miss and not have to worry too much about aggroing a bunch of zombies. Now, the only problem you can run into with the MK2 is when you panic. So let's say you miss. And then right after you missed, you were too close and he aggroed on you. And you were like, oh no, oh no, no. And you shot a bunch of shots back to back like that. The only time the MK2 can aggro neighboring zombies is when we rapid fire. So I already demonstrated that the zombies won't aggro on a single bullet. Now I'm going to show you what a couple rapid fire bullets do. So we're going to take a blast off at this guy. So there. The only time we get in trouble, normally that happens when they rush us. And we panic and we blast off. And now look at, I think we got another one that just heard those shots. Or maybe that was the one that just died there. But that's the only real time the MK2 becomes a problem for us. And the good thing about this is it allows us to get used to all of these mechanics in a safe space where we're not risking our lives, not only to other players hearing us, but also to the Zeds being able to aggro on us. Here we have, in my opinion, the 4 strongest snipers in the game. The DMR sitting at the top, followed by the SVD, followed by the Mosin and the Winchester. Now, these 2 end rifles are civilian rifles that you can find on your journey that literally can be used at the highest level. These other 2 over here are world enders that you find at the end of the game at the highest tier areas. Now, something that I want to point out to you that I kind of talked about earlier, I think, is that the length... Oh, I don't think I did actually yet. The length of the barrel, in a lot of ways, determines the damage that the bullet is going to do. It is really, in reality, it is length of the barrel plus how fast the bullet is going. And normally, what DayZ kind of has happen is the length of the barrel, the majority of the time, determines the speed of the bullet. The one example that isn't true with this is the DMR. And this one has a pretty short barrel up here, it looks like, but it's probably in here too. But ultimately, this one shoots the fastest. This is the gold standard for guns. This is like the holy grail. In every single way imaginable, this gun is the best gun. So if you ever come across this gun, and even if you don't have parts for it now, know that you can find parts for it quite easily in military locations, and you need to grab it. The DMR is SSS plus tier. The SVD, as you can imagine, if we think about the barrel length here, this one over here shooting 308, and this one right here shooting 76254. Same over here, check it out. 308. 76254. These are the 2 strongest ammo types for sniping, and they ultimately are the 2 strongest top tier weapons, right? These are the civilian top tier, and these are the military top tier. So when you're looking for guns, if you come across these, know that just because you find a Mosin, you don't have to use it. But ultimately, it is a gun that you can use to penetrate a plate carrier, which is the strongest armor anyone's going to have at any point, right? You could penetrate that armor and knock them unconscious with 1 round. So it's an incredibly powerful weapon, all of these, as far as snipers. But just something to think about. When you see a gun that you're trying to use at range, what you need to ask yourself is how long is the barrel and what kind of bullet is it shooting? That's going to tell you how much damage that gun is going to do. It really wants to rain on this server. The last thing I'm going to talk to you guys about is ranging your weapons and sort of the main sniping optics that we have here, and just give you a general idea for how I go about ranging as someone that isn't a military expert. There are military experts that you could probably listen to on these topics, and they will have more sound advice, but mine is through the brain of just a civilian pleb, probably like the majority of you guys, all right? So here we have a blaze. I'm going to do the basics. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm going to leave the voice crack in there. I'm leaving the voice crack in there. So here we have a blaze. And this is probably a sniper rifle that when I listed off those other ones, you're like, why isn't the blaze there? Because the blaze sucks. But here we are. The blaze has a hunting scope. When I zoom in, it says I am ranged to 200 meters. Now, this doesn't have any mil dots or lines to let me know exactly where I'm aiming or give me any indication for the range. So with this, I would need to have a rangefinder. And how the rangefinder works is when you get a battery in it, you could aim it at any area and it's going to tell you how far it is. So that guy right there is 176 meters away. So if we take our blaze back into our hands, it looks like when I'm zoomed in, for example, or just a note, when I'm not zoomed in, I'm ranged at 50. So I shot from the hip, I'm ranged at 50. When I zoom in, I'm ranged at 200, okay? So my bullet is going to go straight to 200 meters right now. And he was at 175, so if I put it right on his chest, boom, my boy gone. But what if they weren't 200 meters away? What if they were super far, like this guy over here? Let's do the rangefinder really quick. So we take our rangefinder out. We zoom it over to the area. Boom, we got 300 meters on this guy. So how you would do this in professional military time is you would take your gun out here, you'd zoom in, and you would range it up to 300 by pressing page up. Boom. You could also go page up, page up, page up, all the way to 800, but we know he's at 300, so we're going to range it to 300. And then as soon as we can here, am I going to be able to do it through this? Because it's ranged at 300, essentially what I'm doing is I'm tilting my optic in a way that shows the center line being somewhere else at 300 meters in this case. We hit him right in the chest. So that's how ranging works. Now, my personal experience is that when I range stuff, I always end up forgetting or I end up missing all my shots and I get sad and depressed and I get frustrated. So normally what I do is I just kind of, I try and, if I can range where they are, I use that as a remembrance tool. So this guy's 200 meters away, I will kind of be like, okay, that's probably straight on and I'll shoot at him. But if he was further away, I would aim above him. I'm a big fan of shooting and then watching your bullet go. This is especially the case with guns like the DMR or the Mosin. You could shoot and then kind of hold your fire afterwards. And you can see exactly where it goes. Okay, but on different optics, like for example, let me get out this PSO here. We have built-in range finding tools. And how this built-in rangefinder works is the line where it says 1,7 on the bottom. That is where you are going to put someone's feet. So this kind of tells you a general range as opposed to a guaranteed range like the rangefinder does. So here we have zombies here. I can't see their feet, but I'm going to imagine their feet are right about there. And then I'm going to line their head up with that line that kind of bends to the bottom left all the way down from 2 to 10. And once I find their head and I got their feet on that bottom line, boom, he's at 250 meters. Once you got that, our lines go from 100 to 200 to 400 to 600. So we have little tildes. That center one is 100. Or sorry, to 200, straight line, 400, 600, 800, right? So if I shoot at this guy, boom, it should hit him right in the head. Because that top one goes to 200, straight line. Oh, whoops, I missed it. All right, so that's how you can use this optic to know the range of someone. If I found like a bad guy just standing out there, I could also do the same thing. Just zoom in, put his feet on the bottom line, be like, okay, right there, and then put his head on that other line. And that will give you an idea as to how far you have to aim up. The other optic that kind of has tildes on it is the ACOG. And I'm just going to explain how these ones work. This one doesn't have a built-in rangefinder. What it does have, though, is ranges built into it, right? So we have 100, 200, 300, 400. You see the lines right there? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it goes 500. There's a little tiny line, and then 600 way down there. And that is just, it gives you that range automatically in this. So sometimes people use this, and they shoot right on the cross, and then the bullet goes over the top. It's because you need to be shooting further away. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is the power of being cool. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is the power of being uncool. So right now, I have maybe the prettiest gun to ever exist in the history of mankind. We got an AK-101, PSO optic, flashlight, bayonet, ready to poke someone. You know how we do it, a little poke stab action. Now, although I feel cool with all these attachments, what if I told you they actually work against my gun? Remember what I talked about earlier, my vision being obscured when I ADS? Look right now how my vision is obscured even when I just raise it up at my hip. And also, I'm going to point this out to you. When we ADS with an optic, it takes longer, even if it's not this optic. Here, I'll take that one off just so it's more understandable for you guys. The ADS time takes longer to get to. Check it out. Process how long it's taking. All right, now I'm going to take this off. Process how long it's taking. It's like there's a hitch in the middle, right? You see it? I don't know if you could tell, but when you got an optic next time, put it on your gun in ADS and feel how slow it is. And then take that bad boy off in ADS and feel how fast it is. It's so quick compared. It's insane how quick. And normally, with a gun like an AK-101, you're going to be using that up close. So you don't want that any lag between you and being able to use the function of the gun properly to the utmost ability that you have, right? So I normally run my guns butt naked. I try and get a butt guard. I try and get a little rail hand guard, and I let it ride. If you want a flashlight, get a head guard. You don't need a flashlight on your gun, all right? Thank you guys so much for watching. If I missed anything, once again, just leave a comment down below and let me know, and someone from our community will answer, or I will personally. Join the Discord if you haven't already, and we're going to be having this call server as soon as Frostline goes live, so look in the Discord for that as well. Be good to each other out there, or don't.